CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Starting tomorrow, potential candidates for this year's municipal election can officially declare their status as contenders. London's current mayor, Josh Morgan, has said he will seek re-election, and we're expecting at least one more name to join that race Friday. Kirsten Crows tells CTV News she is strongly considering a campaign for the mayor's office. She currently works in public affairs and has previously held positions in federal and provincial government offices. We'll have much more on the candidates officially entering the race tomorrow. This year's municipal elections are scheduled for October 26th. New housing numbers show building permits in London are slowing down. Despite that, local home builders are painting an optimistic picture, suggesting there are reasons to expect that to soon change. With more, here's Jerry Dewan.
There continues to be steady activity in the housing market in London, but building permits issued in the first 3 months of this year were down more than 5% when compared to the same period last year.
Last year was actually a pretty decent year, all things considered. We certainly expected this year would be a little bit slower to start.
But since those figures were collected, new programs have been announced that Zafman says will help housing grow, starting with the HST rebate on new homes.
The HST rebate is a big one. So now people can get up to $130,000 off of every new home purchase. That's great. One, for inventory homes, but also for builders now signing new contracts with potential purchasers going forward.
Zafman says other new programs are also going to bolster the housing industry.
There is also the development charge incentive program that the province and feds are rolling out. We don't have all the details yet, but looking forward to seeing what that looks like. City Council just approved the permit fee waiver program. So that's great, especially for apartments. If you're going to do a 100, 200 unit apartment building, that could be a couple $100,000 that can really help someone get a project started.
Zafman believes economic uncertainty, mostly fueled by trade wars, continues to make prospective buyers wary. He points to an Ebike poll that shows 78% of people who admit interest in home ownership are kept on the sidelines by fees, taxes, and other economic factors. That's where the government programs come in.
Some of these factors can really make a huge difference in changing that and making the dream of home ownership still a reality for many people in this country.
Zafman says just 10 years ago, the average age of a new home buyer was 30. He says that average age is now 40 years old. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
A crash this morning caused significant slowdowns on Veterans Memorial Parkway. According to police, 2 vehicles were involved at Bradley Avenue around 8 a.m. One of the cars took out a traffic light and ended up in the ditch. The traffic issues stemmed from the lane closures required for clearing the scene. No serious injuries were reported. Provincial police say they've laid an impaired driving charge in Lambton County against someone riding an e-bike. As Brian Bicknell reports, the potential penalties are the same as someone driving a vehicle.
For some, it's a convenient alternative to driving a car, but those who choose an e-bike to get to and fro are subject to the same laws around impaired driving as any driver on the roads, according to provincial police.
Drivers are reminded that no amount of alcohol or drugs in your system is safe to operate your conveyance with. Impaired is impaired.
Lambton OPP says on April 10th, officers were on patrols in Plimpton, Wyoming, when they conducted a traffic stop in a parking lot on Oil Heritage Road. A 52-year-old Sarnia man was charged with impaired operation of an e-bike.
If it is propelled by any force other than muscular force, you can be charged with an impaired driving offense. And that offense doesn't necessarily have to occur on a highway. It can occur on private parking lots as well.
The alleged impaired e-bike operator had his license suspended for 90 days and his vehicle impounded for 7 days.
Doesn't necessarily shock me.
Bike mechanic Aaron Greenhouse says sometimes it's drivers who have already lost their license riding e-bikes.
Bicycles or e-bikes or e-scooters for that matter can be a bit of a way for people that have had past charges with drinking or something like that to kind of still get around.
Now, in spite of the fact that an e-bike rider can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act, according to police, unlike a car or a truck, you don't need registration, you don't need a license plate, and you don't need insurance. Cycling advocate Andrew McClanagan says when laws are violated, he supports enforcement, but he has reservations.
Who's really bearing the risk? So as a cyclist, if I break a rule, I'm really putting myself at risk. As a driver, I decide to rip through Wortley Village, maybe I'm intoxicated, I'm distracted, I'm essentially putting everyone else outside my vehicle at risk. So it's an interesting choice.
In the meantime, the alleged impaired e-bike operator was released from custody and has a court appearance set for next month. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
An opportunity for local girls today to get hands-on experience in the trades. As Lauren Stallone reports, the demand for those skills is rising in the face of a mounting workforce shortage.
Female high school students gathered at Fanshawe College for the annual Jill of All Trades event.
I've always loved working with my hands and helping out around the house and helping my dad with all of his little projects.
The workshop is designed to inspire young women to pursue a career in skilled trades and technologies.
They're working with mentors who are, talking about what happens in the industry and their own experiences as either apprenticeship or journey person or a skilled trades person.
Students get to participate in a variety of activities, including this here behind me, located in the CNC lab, where students get to make and take home their very own C-clamp.
I just wanted to get hands-on with everything.
Students say the opportunity to learn from and work with like-minded women is empowering.
It really inspires me, just seeing how amazing the women here have been able to progress and be creative with whatever they want to do.
It's very inspiring for, I feel like, not just myself, but everyone else here today. It's really good to see other girls, see what we can become.
Experts say this comes at a time when the need for skilled trades workers is critical, now more than ever.
We are going to need 950,000 new skilled trade graduates coming up over the next decade, which means 95,000 employees every year for the next 10 years to fill that gap.
Zoe Davey knows firsthand the challenges of working in a male-dominated industry and how to push past them.
It's good to meet the people who will be there and who will support you and fight for you, but you need to know that, you earned your spot there as much as anybody else did.
While they know the road ahead won't be easy, that isn't stopping future generations from claiming their place in the industry.
I feel like events like this help really change that and to give girls more confidence and I belong.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Premier Doug Ford met with a range of international leaders today, part of his push to turn Ontario into a global trading hub. However, as Siobhan Morris reports, there's growing skepticism about the province's path in the midst of a trade war.
After weeks of intense criticism, slipping polling numbers, and a recent retreat from reporters' questions, Premier Doug Ford co-hosted a roundtable high above downtown Toronto, welcoming 15 consuls general from around the world.
To hear from each and every one of you how we can increase trade on both sides, ourselves and within your countries as well.
Part of the drive to diversify Ontario's trade, still challenged by American tariffs. The visuals reminiscent of Ford's peak Captain Canada days, leading the Council of the Federation.
I see today's meeting as a course correction, a deliberate, clear, unmistakable attempt by him and his office to get back to the issues that work best for him with voters.
Speaking with CTV News, the Premier brushed off criticism from those who wonder if he's lost his way.
In politics, you're up, you're down, and we're still in a strong position. And we're going to keep moving forward.
The government's recent purchase and return of a jet for the Premier's use at work raised questions about whether he understands what Ontarians are going through. Are you taking any of that to heart?
Well, not at all, considering I'm the only guy in the world, not Canada, in the entire world, that hands out his phone number. I could pull my phone out right now, and I'll show you. I am at every minute and a half, I'm behind 9,323 messages.
Keeping what's on that phone out of public view is behind a recent overhaul to freedom of information laws. Those changes are now keeping records related to removal of land from the Greenbelt secret.
As far as I'm concerned, that's quite a ways ago, a long time ago. We're moving forward. We're going to focus on the economy and the jobs, and that's what people are concerned about.
That's not how the Liberals see it.
No, actually, the RCMP are still investigating it. People want to know why.
The NDP leader believes Ontarians should get to see inside those files.
It's not only about the Greenbelt. It's about how does the government make decisions and on whose behalf.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
A developing story out of the White House where President Donald Trump has authorized a new pipeline that would move Canadian oil to the United States, potentially increasing Canada's U.S. exports by more than 10%.
Slightly different than the last administration. Very different. They wouldn't sign a pipeline deal, and we have pipelines going up.
Company officials behind the proposed pipeline say it would transport Canadian crude to Wyoming and cost about $2 billion U.S. to build. They've pitched this as a revival of the controversial Keystone XL pipeline, which was canceled by former President Joe Biden in 2021 after protests from Indigenous groups. And if approved, the pipeline would start in central Alberta, pass through Saskatchewan, cross the border into Montana, and then on to Wyoming. It's expected to use parts of the Keystone pipeline that had been constructed in Canada, but take a different route in the U.S. Meanwhile, gas prices across the country rose higher today. As Adrian Gobriel reports, there's no sign of an immediate resolution in Iran, and that means it could get worse at gas stations before it gets better.
Fuming while fueling up.
I'm fed up. I can't take it anymore.
From fed up to frustration to, the next step is despair.
The pain at the pump has hit a new peak due to these average prices across the country today, with Vancouver topping out as the most expensive city at nearly $2.17 a litre. Depending on where you live, a cross-country spike between 8 to 12 cents is predicted to be on tap for tomorrow.
Whether you be in Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, or the East Coast, Atlantic Canada, prices are going up everywhere.
While the price humanity has paid for the war in Iran can't be qualified in dollars and cents, the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran is costing the global economy billions, with 20% of the world's oil supply unable to pass through these troubled waters.
The United States blockade of Iranian shipping is costing the Iranian regime about $500 million a day in lost oil revenues. And for the United States, they've spent about $25 billion worth of munitions.
Economists say the closure of the strait has already been priced into the oil market. Fears of a prolonged conflict in Iran is now driving prices towards record levels.
The more that prices continue to rise is more belief in the markets that this isn't going to resolve itself anytime soon.
Even if a peace deal were to be reached today, those keeping a close eye on the oil market believe it would take months before any reprieve arrives.
The gap that has been created is over 1 billion barrels of oil a day is missing. It's going to take a long time to recover that. Vessels don't travel at light speed to move oil from one place to another.
For Canadians, the impact could reach far beyond the price at the pumps. If the conflict isn't resolved by this summer, there's legitimate concerns that inflation could once again tick upwards, along with interest rates.
Some petroleum analysts believe without a timely resolution in the Strait of Hormuz, we could see gas prices across Canada climb another 50 cents per litre in the months ahead. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead, the $1 million chase in Sarnia, an ever-growing jackpot bringing out the crowds to catch the ace. Markets on both sides of the border ended higher today. In Toronto, the TSX gained 646 points. In New York, the Dow added 790, the Nasdaq up 219. The Canadian dollar gained 1/3 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold is up $68 an ounce. Oil fell about $1.80 a barrel. A new multinational bank focused on defense will be headquartered in Canada. It's a new venture meant to help smaller companies get loans so they can grow in the global security sector. Judy Trin reports.
As NATO nations ramp up to spend 5% of their GDP on defense by 2035, a new multinational bank with headquarters in Canada is being created to help smaller companies access loans to expand.
By pooling together, we're stronger financially, and it's a testament to Canada's reputation, Canada's commitment, Canada's financial expertise.
The Defense, Security and Resilience Bank could consist of as many as 40 NATO nations and allies, all contributing to a funding pool of $135 billion U.S.
You have in the Ottawa office?
This Ottawa technology company uses AI to help the Royal Canadian Navy analyze the moves of enemy ships Anvil wants to expand to Europe and is hoping the multinational defense bank will open doors.
Having people who have walked that path before and can help guide successful companies like ours through that path, I think that's a major benefit for Canada, and I'm very hopeful that the DSRB will be that will be one of those conduits.
Where in Canada the defense bank will be located hasn't been determined, but the lobbying has already begun from Vancouver to Montreal to Toronto.
We have all the banks here, the financial sector here.
The national capital is also making a case.
We're the home of 130 plus foreign missions and embassies. The World Bank is in Washington. It's not in New York City. This is the place where defense innovation is happening.
At this point, no start date for the bank has been set, and it's also unclear how much each member nation, including Canada, will contribute to the pool of funds. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Skepticism today on multiple fronts as federal government leaders weigh the idea of selling off airports to the private sector. Abigail Beeman has more on the criticism and where the proposal stands.
More details trickling out about the government's plans to explore privatizing airports after the spring economic update said it's still on the table.
From place to place, from facility to facility, how we can maximize the gains for Canadians.
The transport minister says they will look at each airport separately. Ottawa owns 41. 23 of the biggest are leased to third-party airport authorities.
I think that's a very complicated issue, but I think they need to be more fiscally responsible. Maybe they wouldn't be selling off Canadian assets.
History is littered with examples of the failures of privatization, and this is a potentially a very costly and dangerous plan.
With critics quickly coming forward, concerned about already high airfare and the potential for fees to creep higher.
I'm very suspicious because one group of people who are sure to gain from it are those who may be buying the airport.
Airport user fees account for about 30 cents of every dollar of a regular airfare that Canadian purchases. That's not an insignificant cost. And so if there is a way to lower that, presumably you'd be able to increase your volumes.
This aviation lawyer says it's possible privatization could lower prices too. And at this point, the government seems to be looking at all kinds of options.
We need to take a very close look before we proceed, precisely because there are cautionary tales in private investment at airport, but there are also genuine success stories.
The head of Calgary's airport authority says he understands firsthand the pros and cons of privatization, but for now,
if we can have a structure that keeps our world-class safety and security, keeps a high quality and affordability for passengers, and we drive our economies, if we can do that in a better structure, let's do it. And so let's have that conversation.
Outside of Calgary, airport authorities across the country aren't saying much. The Canadian Airports Council sent us a one-line statement. They're working with the government on the evolution of the airport model and are exploring investment opportunities. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. Getting cold through the overnight. A frost advisory in effect. The growing season is underway, and we could see some of those tender fruits and vegetables get nipped as we head through the overnight and temperatures drop down to about -2. As we head into your morning, we're expecting some sunshine, although it will be quite chilly first thing. Thanks, Nancy, for this photo of Stella and Shasta, both rescues. The temperature hovering just at +1 by 8 o'clock. On the cool side, heading into the weekend, we'll have your local weather coming up.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie now, and there were certainly some stretches there in April where people would have been out in the gardens getting things ready for the season, but something to keep in mind for tonight is that we're not out of the frost just yet.
Yeah, frost advisory in effect with some cold conditions expected over the next few nights. So if you have some tender plants that you want to bring indoors, you should do that right now. And damage to plants and trees can happen when those temperatures drop between -1 and -2. So that's a light freeze, but in the coming days we could see more of a hard freeze. So forecast very dependent on the cloud cover, of course, but the air is cold. We have this upper trough in place and keeping us well below normal, just hitting 9 degrees today. Weak little surface low just off to the west could brush by the Windsor-Essex area, heading through the overnight and into tomorrow morning, sparking a shower towards Windsor and Chatham. But the rest of the region will hold on to just the cloud cover through the overnight. As we head into tomorrow, that little wave, as I mentioned, coming through overnight tonight, tonight, but the cloud cover not really pushing northward. So areas of Huron and Perth County will see a mix of cloud cover and clear skies. And as we head through Grey and Bruce County, mainly clear conditions. Your Friday looks good, expecting a mix of sun and cloud through the day, although once again, there's a chance for a shower. The reason is we have this upper trough in place over the Great Lakes. So Western Canada is enjoying some beautiful springtime weather with some sunshine and temperatures warming, while the Great Lakes Basin and Eastern Canada dealing with the cool conditions. So that's what happens in the upper atmosphere. We see these troughs and ridges set up. We're under that trough, and as a result, temperatures are tumbling. In terms of overnight lows, anywhere from -2 to -3 and through the interior, and along the lake shore of Huron and Erie, anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees. You'll wake up to a mix of sun and cloud across most of the region tomorrow. Can't rule out once again a spotty shower. We've been talking about this forecast all week in terms of that sunshine comes out, it's beautiful, and then the clouds roll back in with the risk for some light rainfall. That's because the air aloft is so cold, so it results in this instability at the surface. The forecast high coming in at 11 degrees for your Friday. A mix of sun and cloud on Saturday and 10-15 degrees on Sunday, with a chance of some rain developing Sunday afternoon into the evening. I left it off of the icon in terms of that rain arriving early in the day, unlikely, but as we head into the afternoon, evening, we will start to see the chance for showers. Monday, a jump in temperature into the 20s, and then 19 on Tuesday, and then once again a drop off Wednesday into Thursday. Spring is often a time where we see these major shifts in terms of our temperature. We'll see it jump up and then drop back down. This forecast, I mentioned this earlier in the week, just slowly rolling into spring. May arrives with once again an up and down pattern. So heading into next week, temperatures will once again be on a bit of a ride. So Midwestern Ontario tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud and 10 degrees, 10 on Saturday, but your overnight lows could result in a hard freeze from -5 to -7. So please keep that in mind with those tender plants. I know the farmers are working overtime to protect some of those tender crops. So thinking of them and hoping for the best in terms of those overnight lows not dropping off and staying cold too long. That's a wrap tonight. Carlyle, I'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Julie. A fashion fundraiser earlier tonight in Huron County featuring runway models all connected through their personal cancer battles. With more, here's Scott Miller.
I think as a 40-year cancer survivor, I felt it was incumbent on me to show people that there is a life after cancer.
The Celebrate Life Cancer Survivors fashion show sold out in 12 hours. Organizer Anita Snobelin ran similar cancer survivor fashion shows in Chatham before recently moving to Huron County and bringing the idea with her.
We want to make certain that even though you have a cancer diagnosis or a loved one does, it doesn't mean that we can't still celebrate life. And that's the overall theme, is to celebrate life.
Absolutely. And to bring hope to people, to hear the stories and the hope that is embedded in those stories, and just to give people the lift that they need.
The Celebrate Life fashion show will also be raising money for Wheels of Hope, a Canadian Cancer Society program that organizes rides for patients to and from cancer treatments.
It's expensive to go to London or Owen Sound or anywhere. Parking, driving. If you don't have a car, how do you get there? And when you are that scared, when you get that diagnosis, like your mind immediately goes to the worst. I'm dying.
While the event itself is meant to inspire and educate, walking out on that stage will be emotional for all 22 of the cancer survivors taking part, because at one point, they all worried if they get to carry on.
You can change up your life, and maybe you have to go off in a different direction. But at the end of the day, you will be who you will be, and it's just one of those tribulations that happens along the way.
In Huron County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca. Finally tonight, long lines stretching out in Sarnia as a local lottery jackpot hits $1.6 million. With more on the Catch the Ace craze and the cause it's supporting, here's Sean Irvin.
The best way to measure the excitement surrounding a $1.6 million jackpot in Sarnia is to take a walk. On multiple downtown blocks, people are lined up, each one firmly believing they are about to be very rich, thanks to the Chase the Ace lottery draw being run by Branch 62 of the Royal Canadian Legion.
I've been manifesting this for 64 years. You know, I feel it, I feel it.
And with some waiting hours to get in line to get their hands on a ticket, they have some time to dream about how they'd spend the money.
Go on trips.
Go on trips. Say where to?
Probably Greece.
But some, like Claudette McKay, only laughed when we asked where she would disappear to. You'll really be laughing if you win all that.
That's right.
Lots of those in line have plans to retire, including one man wearing an ace on his shirt.
Well, I'd help out a pile of causes too, but I'd start enjoying life more.
To win the lottery, you must first pick a number from a board and enter your name in a draw. The winner automatically gets the weekly prize, which last week topped out at $114,232. The lucky ticket holder also picks from that board to try to catch the ace.
And that person goes over to our board, selects a numbered envelope, we rip it open. If it contains the ace of spades from a deck of cards, then they win the whole progressive pot.
Well, the winner gets a huge prize. The Legion, once struggling to survive, gets money to fix its building, help veterans, and support local charities. Now, last year at about this time, the ace was selected and the winner took home about $700,000. Needless to say, the addition of almost $1 million more has driven these lines around City Hall and multiple downtown buildings. So by now, you're likely wondering who was first in line. Well, after arriving at 1:30 a.m., this man was able to take a seat inside. His name, believe it or not, is Ace. And you're feeling lucky.
Well, today I am because of 1.6.
That's a lot of dough for a man who oddly resembles someone who gives a lot at a certain time of year.
Definitely I'll be giving lots of money to lots of people.
Will you do it in a jolly red suit, sir? Yes, believe it or not, Ace is one of Santa's top helpers, although we wonder if perhaps he's more than he lets on. When we asked him if he was headed north if he won all the money, he quickly conceded.
North Pole, 10-4.
In Sarnia, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.